Hello, everyone. I am your host today, Chris Clay, Game Director for Guild of Guardians. It is so good to see all of you. It has been a crazy mad dash over on our end at Immutable. We have been working really hard with MindLoader to bring this Friends and Family demo out to all of you. There has been so much work over the last couple of months to bring this all together. A whole lot of threads from MindLoader to all of our other external outsourcers working on art and images and otherwise, audio, and of course the internal team as well. It's been a bit of a mad scramble. It's very normal game development when I say that, so it's definitely not unexpected. Uh, from my end in the game director's seat, there's a bit of magic to it because you're orchestrating, with everyone else, obviously, all of these different components, and you don't necessarily get to see every last piece until they're all delivered and integrated. And a lot really came together in the last couple of weeks, and it went from the build is kind of working to like, okay, this is something I'm really happy to bring out to all of you. So without too much further ado, let's kick this thing off. So to get things started with just a little bit of housekeeping, move myself out of the way so we can see all this. We're going to go through just some basic introductions for people who don't know me. We'll talk a little bit about getting access to the build and how that'll go. Probably won't take the full 5 minutes there. A little bit of a retro on the beautiful corner, then going into an overview of the Friends and Family demo itself, talking about the new features in Friends and Family, and then going into the changes for people who played the Beautiful Corner. Between Beautiful Corner and Friends and Family, a number of systems have seen iterative updates and changes. We'll talk a little bit about the endless leaderboard prizes and contests, and then essentially go into Q&A. I'm going to try and go through as sprightly as I can so that we have as much time for questions at the end. So yeah, let's see how we do. All right, so I think I'll bring myself back into the mix. Who am I? So I'm Chris Clay. Everyone calls me Clay, game director for Guild of Guardians and GU at Immutable, former game director for Magic the Gathering Arena, and I've been doing this stuff a long time. I've worked on many projects that are still alive, going on for years to decades. And it's kind of my thing, working on internal systems that can be updated for a long period of time by teams in games that have systems that players want to engage with over long periods of time. And that's been something I've repeated many times with Guild of Guardians. That's ultimately the goal, create an enduring ecosystem that people want to continue to engage with. So, that's me. Gaining access. So for those of you who have been chosen for the playtest, and man, I wish we could invite more. We had around 1,400 signups from the community. We only get to invite 400 people for this one. But for those of you who were selected, you'll be getting emails in your inboxes that will take you through one of these two flows, either test flight, where essentially you'll get the invite. You'll need to install Test Flight, the app on your iPhone. You'll need to accept the invite from Guild of Guardians, install the app, and essentially you're good to go from that point on. Just for awareness, when you install, the initial install isn't super huge, but there will be a large update. This is something that we're going to continue to optimize, just how that works in later development. Right now, not necessarily super optimized. It is fairly large. It's going to be hundreds of megabytes, but there's also a lot of pretty inside the game. So, trade-offs. On the Android side, a few less steps, but similarly, you'll get the email, click through, install Guild of Guardians, and then you are good to go. Definitely looking forward to getting people in the build. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us on Discord, and we will work as soon as we can, or to the support team. All right, a high-level overview of how things are going. So, as I've done before, we've completed the MindLoader partnership, probably one of the most important steps in all of this. We made it through the Beautiful Corner build, I think with flying colors, and now we're done with the limited beta. And oh my gosh, what a ride it has been! It has uh, changed a little bit from the initial roadmap people saw. We've added in some systems into the limited beta that we were expecting to do further out. The biggest of those being the new user tutorials. For anyone who's ever worked in games, tutorials are a massive undertaking, and we've been working with MindLoader to make sure that we have a flexible system so that we can update it rapidly. This is one of the areas that we've iterated on the most over the last couple of months, making sure that we've got the key pieces in. And oh my gosh, is that a challenge? Because we do have some of the language barrier, getting the initial systems in, then we've got to translate things, have to make sure that everything is flowing and working. But versus the first Beautiful Corner test, you don't need me to handhold you through anything now. For all of the people who got in, the first time user experience is going to do that for you. A bunch of other features I'll talk about in a little bit. And then moving into the Q4 open beta, it's mostly focused in on that Web3 integration layer. We still do have some systems that we need to bring online that I'll go into in a later slide. But things are continuing nicely apace. It's always hard with development to hit the roadmap, but so far, so good. All right, TLDR, if you do not remember anything else out of this presentation, this demo of GOG is limited beta. It is a preview of the core gameplay systems, meta systems that were not present in the Beautiful Corner, and tutorial systems, all still in active development. Everything you see here is likely to change through before launch. We are continually iterating on all of the systems in development. A big focus on this demo continues to be feeling and fun. Not everything is exactly perfect. There's still areas where we're looking to improve flows, but we have made a lot of iterative changes based on feedback from that Beautiful Corner build. And if you get stuck along the way, again, pop into Discord or email support. I know you guys can't click this link. Ryan, can you confirm for me that the emails have support link info? But yeah, friends and family demo. So what is this? A lot of it comes down to meta system validation. We've basically wrapped that core loop that we're trying to validate in the Beautiful Corner and take a step back and be like, how does it feel now? Like, how are those loops going? So we've got that AI roguelike core loop for combat. We've got the merge inventory. In terms of those big economic loops, we've got, that very initial, like moment to moment, that 1 day loop, the 1 week loop, the 1 month loop. For the Beautiful Corner, we just were really focused on that first day, getting players through that first day of experience. Now with friends and family, it's really a focus on that first week, getting players through that first week of gameplay before some of those meta systems that encourage longer engagement kick in. Not all of those are in place. So over the course of friends and family, like 7 days is really our focus and seeing how people retain there. How are we doing that? A big piece of that is that endless dungeon and the first delve. We'll be going into this in a couple of sections, more details along the way. Things like daily rewards. So as you log in over the first 7 days of the demo, you'll get daily login reward that will help your progress. And then achievements. So daily achievements, story achievements, just achievements in general across your account. All of these little incentives for you just to do one more thing to go get that extra reward. Cool. Beautiful Corner reflections. So, where we were about 4 months ago with the Beautiful Corner was we had, that initial core loop internally. Things were going really well with our testing there. We thought it was in a really good place. And luckily, when we brought it out to the wider community, that's what we saw. We had really, really good response from the people who were in the Beautiful Corner playtest, partners, players, and otherwise. And definitely a high point for me, and I think for the team, because there was a lot of challenges on the road to get there. There was a lot of really hard work. And from there, one of the things I talked about in the Beautiful Corner presentations was when you have that really solid base, it gives you a lot of confidence to move forward quickly with things like this first-time user experience, with these meta systems that we're wrapping, and knowing that you're going to be able to keep most of it. With development, there are always things that you're throwing away along the way, but it's also let us continue iterate on that core experience. I had said it's not final, so even things like the home screen have gone through a bit of work, again trying to bring the richness of the world to life for players as they explore Guild of Guardians. For those of you who were not here for that whole experience, we had 168 players with an average online time of 8 hours, which was well above what we were targeting. 82% of players played for more than 1 hour. If you look at people who had technical issues and couldn't actually play, this rises into the 90s, which is well above what we were expecting. What blew me away, though, was 65% of players played more than 12. And this was not at all expected. It took about 4 hours and change for a few people, a little less than that, to get through the primary content and get onto that endless dungeon and just sort of the grinding of the dungeons. And seeing that many people really engaging on the long term was super encouraging for all of us on the team, with the highest play time being 45 hours. For this friends and family build, you can definitely go ham. Please sleep. Please take care of yourself. Drink fluids. Eat food. I don't want anyone burning themselves out, because you definitely can. There's a lot more to go. I recently had tonsillitis and was kind of just stuck in bed with gnarly fever as the antibiotics took hold. So I just did that, and it was kind of a nice way to pass the time. Another really important stat coming out of the exit survey, 90% of playtesters agreed that they could see themselves playing Guild of Guardians once launched. Also a really encouraging number. All of this is to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, in that these are our golden cohort. These are people who are committed to GOG. These numbers will come down some, we expect, as we go out to a wider market, and that's okay. These numbers are beyond exceptional. So with this build too, we're taking it to a wider audience. There will be more players getting in, and it'll give us a really good index of where we're going. We have a bit of room with where the numbers are at for them to come down and still be in a really, really good place going into launch. Cool. What's in friends and family? So what you see over on the right, what's included, what's not included. What's included was what we had in the Beautiful Corner build. That what's not included list continues to shrink, and there is a whole lot of new in the friends and family build. We have been continuing to move very quickly on development and getting features in. And I'm going to be walking through most of these in detail in the upcoming slides. But yes, a whole bunch of really solid content. So what are some of those things? I talked about the tutorial. So one of the things we did is we looked at all of the feedback. We looked at where players got frustrated, where they got stuck. We did a lot of playtesting as well with people who had never been associated with GOG and had full video playthroughs of them experiencing the game, saw where they hit points of frustration, and tried to cover the whole shebang with the first-time user experience, and also tried to make it not intrusive. It's things you have to click through, things you have to do, but I think it toes that line of, as somebody who's played through the first-time user experience many times at this point, helpful, but doesn't necessarily get in the way. For all of those who make it in, this is one of those places that you can really help us in development with your feedback. If there are places where you get stuck and don't understand something that the tutorial didn't cover, giving us that feedback can let us add that into the first-time user experience. If there's something that it's like, hey, the Fatui actually hit me with this, 3 or 4 times. I had it after one. You really didn't need to do that. Please let us know. But really, really happy with how the tutorial has come along. Leaderboards. So this is something we've talked a lot about being really important. This is something that I know for me was really interesting. Having the leaderboard in place when I was playing while sick, it actually closed in our testing environment. And I was like, but my numbers, I need them to go up. And yeah, as a game director, it is my or it is my job to be the voice of the player. And one of the things I'm constantly doing is monitoring my own response and emotional response to the game. And I take it as a very good thing, actually. To be clear, I was in a weakened state because I was quite sick, but like having the leaderboard be down, I really wanted it back. And uh, you be really curious to see how everyone does with it, but it was a really good sign. The Endless Dungeon has gone through some iteration since the last time everyone played. It's really difficult compared to the Beautiful Corner, and will be something that we continue to iterate on. You will not be able to play the Endless Dungeon, though, until you complete the Throne Room in Requiem. Um, and there will be rewards that we'll talk about in the real world in just a little bit. Another big one that we had a ton of feedback from Beautiful Corner testers on was achievements. People were like, hey, it would be great if I had more little points along the way where I got rewards. So we've got dailies that you can complete every day for rewards. We've got story rewards for completing parts of the story mission. And then we've got achievements, which are general like account level unlocks for getting certain like rare heroes up to X stars, all of that fun stuff. This is super. There's a reason that all games have these because they're really good at doing their job of giving you that one more thing to do. Really, 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 really good. The other thing that we have been working on is the story itself. I will say what you're going to be getting in the Friends and Family demo is not what will be there at launch. We've been working on that full story, but we don't want to spoil too much. There's elements in there, but the story is really exercising the narrative systems, making sure that it allows us to do all of the things that we need to do to tell the story. This is also where you'll start to see some of the 2D images that I've talked about, taking characters like Leah and Arcus here and letting you see them, in full color detail, and I don't know. I'm really happy with how it's taken shape. So looking forward to feedback from all of you on that. Okay, next section is key changes from Beautiful Corner to Friends and Family, because a lot of systems have gone through iteration based on feedback from players. And we've added a couple new bits into the mix. And I wasn't quite sure exactly where I should put them, but some of it comes from feedback, so I'm going to include it here. One of the big ones was Guardians in the Beautiful Corner all leveled through XP potions. And there was something that didn't feel quite right about this. You could have your Guardians go through a whole dungeon. They're still at the same level that they started at until you spent those XP potions, or you had to, after every stage, spend your XP potions. It wasn't quite right. So we've iterated on this. Now, as you go through combat, at the end of combat, you'll level up your Guardians. We've got changes to equipment in terms of letting you power up higher tier gear. We've done a huge overhaul of UX. A lot of the UI was just too small in terms of click targets. We got a ton of feedback on that part. So we've increased the size of most of the UIs in the game for easier reading, easier clicking. Still a few places, particularly on room selection, that I want to continue to improve on, but a lot of good work there. In the Beautiful Corner, when you wanted to level up your Guardians by breakpoint levels from like 10 to 11, you had to use basically evolution dust. That no longer exists. Guardians can level essentially as much as they want, but in the Friends and Family demo, you'll need to level through the skills through use of dust. And one of the biggest changes, and this one actually took me a while to get used to, the blacksmith in the Beautiful Corner build was kind of a dead room. And now it's actually one of the rooms I'm most excited to see in a dungeon, because when you go to a blacksmith in a dungeon, you get to craft one item. So if you've done all of your merging, you've got the recipe ready to go, you can craft at the blacksmith in the dungeon. And this increases your chances of getting sort of exceptional rolls on that item. Basically, a higher level of rarity, better secondary stats, higher secondary stats. And it does change the dynamic quite a bit. Hasn't stopped me from crafting outside, but I'm always sort of keeping something in reserve as like that key piece of gear that I want to have my best shot at if I hit a blacksmith in the dungeon. And another big piece of feedback was it was really hard to get guardians in the beautiful corner. And in the friends and family demo, you're going to get a lot more summoning scrolls, and you will have guardian shard crafting to get rare guardians. So guardians are much more frequent. And this is actually a place where I'm like, hey, is this going to be too much? But I don't think it is, which is also really quite encouraging. There's always, as I've been playing through, something more to go and get. I probably should have just clicked through the slides as I went through all of that. Oops. That's annoying. Boom. Okay, this slide. 29 Guardians have made it into the Friends and Family build. A lot more variety, a lot more different types of skills, a lot more combinations that you can put together to run through. As always, what you see here on the Guardians isn't necessarily what you're going to see in the final build, so take it as stuff that can change and iterate. If you've got feedback on any Guardian skill, what you like, what you love, what you hated, definitely send that feedback our way. And yes, I'm really happy with how the portraits have come together. I think they take those initial models and really bring them to life with extra character. In the story, still yet to come is a lot of our key story guardians will also get a range of facial expressions as they go through. Post-combat leveling, yeah, this is what you're going to see here. The thing that I would, again, stress here that's quite different is when you level post-combat, your guardian is healed. This can have really interesting ramifications on dungeon runs. And you hits extra notes of strategy. Like if you've got a guardian that is quite low on health, potentially Freya, on the front lines, taking her, putting her in the back, putting other guardians in front to sort of tank for her so that she can level up and heal and keep pushing it through. Makes a big difference, and I just think it feels better than the previous one. But again, open feedback on that. Here's the equipment power-up. So key things here. As a big part of like just daily rewards and that whole achievement system, you'll get enhancement stones, which you can use to star up equipment that once you hit tier 3. At tier 3, there will still be equipment that does not have this, but like higher rolled gear will have the chance to be enhanced. Another thing on that point, equipment as loot is more prevalent in the Friends and Family build, particularly basic equipment. So you're not necessarily crafting everything. Crafting is still far better on the highest rolls than what you're getting as loot. But again, trying to ease that transition through. And yeah, let us know how that goes. UX changes, something I put down a little bit. So like this is the crafting UX from the beautiful corner. And this is something you can kind of extrapolate out to the wider game. If you look at sort of the scale and size of things, in the new UX, everything is a lot bigger. It means we've made some sacrifices in terms of can only forge that top row, but it's just a whole heck of a lot easier to read. It's easier just to interact with. Also a key change when you're in the fusing craft area, you can actually forge the item directly from there that you've got your focus on. But yeah, a whole bunch of UX changes. Again, give us feedback. We'll continue to iterate from here. Treasure chests, another new thing in the Friends and Family loot, particularly for completing dungeons. You're going to see treasure chests as rewards. These can pop out all sorts of different things. They can pop out gear, they can pop out guardians, and they essentially, you click on it in your inventory, you open it up, you get to select, in this case, which blueprint you would like, and then you've got it. It's, again, a way for us to sort of ease RNG and give players more choice and options, something that I think just helps as an extra tool in the mix. Commander settings. So this was not present in the Beautiful Corner build, but again, customizing how things look. The guardians that were on that home screen were just who you had used in your previous run. Now you'll have your guardian showcase. You can select from your guardians on what you want to appear there. There are also settings in the mix now. You can adjust your music, SFX, quality settings, code redemption, which we have no codes at the moment, but a really important feature for all sorts of reasons. And a click out to support within the game itself if you encounter any issues. We also have notifications. So if you let us, we'll be a little bit annoying when you've got your endless energy back, when you've got a 7-day reward to claim, merge energy, leaderboards, all of that stuff. And auto sacrifice, if you don't want to go in and manually sacrifice your equipment, you can set up auto sacrifice here for that to do it for you. And so at the moment, this is really just squeaked in under the wire as a little bit of a preview of things to come, but sort of portrait setting. Right now, it is just in-game portraits, but having the system in place makes it so that there is that plausibility of that integration through with avatars. Now that we've got that here, it really just comes down to the Web3 integration side of things. Skill unlocking and leveling. So your guardians will not just get their skills when they hit those like key levels. So 11, 21. Now you'll have to go in and spend wisdom dust to essentially unlock your guardian skills and get them up in stage. This is reversible in that guardians can be basically reset. When you reset, you get most of the components back that you've spent there in terms of experience, wisdom scrolls. And this changes things from sort of like a hard cap that we had in the Beautiful Corner to something that's softer. There's nothing that's going to stop you from continuing to level up your guardians and dungeons. But getting those skills unlocked is a key piece of their power. So still really incentivizes searching out those wisdom scrolls, which you get, again, from rewards, in dungeons, from achievements, and power everybody up. Okay. The first delve. So getting leaderboards in is a pretty major milestone for us. I think leaderboards are going to be really important to long-term engagement in Guild of Guardians, just what it lets us do in terms of mutating the challenge that players face, and in providing exciting rewards for competition. There's a whole bunch I want to do with restrictions on the Guardians you can take into these and all of that, but here's the first go of it. You'll get to experience it in the Friends and Family demo. Details here. This is a test. Things may go askew. We think we've got a pretty good handle on it through QA and otherwise, but some of it is like, how does it motivate players? So feedback on the system, also really important to us. What worked, what didn't work, what was frustrating, what was fun. Key dates. So basically, when you get into Guild of Guardians, Endless will not be available initially. Even if you unlock it by completing World 1, you're going to have to wait for it to kick in. This is to account for the fact that we are a global game. We've got people in a lot of different time zones. We want to give everyone a chance to play Guild of Guardians, to get to the point where they can compete in the Endless, to try and make things more fair. Days 2 through 4 will be silver placement. Essentially, the top 60% of players in the leaderboards will advance. Day 5 to 7 will be gold placement, top 30%. Day 8 to 10, platinum placement. The top 10 players will advance. Each round will be scored from midnight at UTC 0 and end 6 to 8 hours after, so 8 p.m. on day 4, 7, and 10. And then NFTs will be dropped to winners at the ends of the Friends and Family playtest. Give us a little bit of time on this. We'll have to make sure we confirm wallets and all of that fun stuff. But yeah, we will be handing out some fun Guardian NFTs from our vault. Okay, so beyond that, we recognize too that not everyone is going to be able to get into the Friends and Family playtest. So we've got a couple of other contests in the mix. So one for anyone who does not have access to the Friends and Family demo, we've got the GOG word hunt. Essentially, for the whole Friends and Family demo period on Twitter, you spot GOG in the world itself. If you see a guild on something, if you see it in a book, newspaper, or otherwise, take a picture, be creative with it, and submit it, and we'll be selecting winners out of the best submissions. Contest 2, Bests of GOG. So anyone with access to Friends and Family for the whole demo period, platform for this is Twitter. Play through the playtest, record it, snapshot it, do whatever you can with it. Submit it using the event-specific hashtag GOG gameplay, post it to socials, and we'll be selecting the top 3 out of this for Legendary Esports Hero, Albert, Stratos, and Abbas as the 3 heroes there. Won't be quite as interesting as some of the submissions as we got last time. In that, man, people got really creative. Actually, I take that back. I wouldn't be surprised with the creativity of the GOG community that we might not exceed expectations there. But yeah, enter the contests and help us create some great content. Wow, I kind of flew through that. I was not reading chat so I could keep my train of thought. But if there are questions, I am more than happy to take them. If there's anything that you would like clarified, feel free to ask now. Coffee. Or Ryan, if you want to ping me on Slack if there were questions that I missed along the way. Kyle with, has the in-game art for cosmetics been developed? In terms of all of the variants for the different tiers of founder guardians cosmetics is pretty broad. So I would say Friends and Family does not include cosmetic options for Guardians, but all of the Warrior, etc., is in the art production queue with MindLoader at the moment. So yes, in development, but not included. And let's be clear, there's an absolute ton of work there. So that's going to be going right up until launch. Who is the current dev team? Any AAA games under the belt? So I didn't include the slide on MindLoader this time, but the developer we're working with for Guild of Guardians is MindLoader Studios. I want to be clear, they are absolutely fantastic as a partner. We would not be where we're at today without them. And they have tons of AAA under their belt. They've worked on Assassin's Creed, the Final Fantasy games. They've been working together for that core team of them for over 2 decades. They are very, very good at what they do. They are primarily an art studio, so visuals is where they kind of excel. They're really solid across the board, and I don't think I can speak highly enough of them. Okay, we're scrolling, so I'm going to go back up. How do I know I am in the demo? Check your email. If you've gotten an email from us, I believe they have all been sent out. Ryan, if you can confirm that for me, that will be good to know. Like I believe the emails have been sent right now, so you should have one waiting if you've been included in the demo. Ryan, how many Leo will I need to 15 star? Okay, so this is something that we are playing with in the friends and family demo. So something that's a little bit different from the previous iteration is initially you will need duplicate guardians to, we're calling it Enlighten now, guardians to get those stars up. But past a breakpoint, you will essentially need like a sacrifice resource, which you can get from any like guardians. So to get a Leah up to top star, you wouldn't necessarily need just Leahs. This would open it up to a wider band. This will help us get around that problem of just too many Leahs being needed with too few in circulation. It's an experiment. We'll see how it goes, how people feel about it. I've been playing with it, and I think it feels pretty good because it provides utility to all guardians. So it gives us, like, if anyone's balanced anything out there, and I know you guys have all played it, no matter how perfect you try to get balance, there's always going to be a tier list. And a system like this makes sure that even guardians at the bottom of the tier list still can have a utility in helping you enhance your guardians at the top. But again, subject to change as things move forward. So Giancarlo, how do you get a key to start playing the app? The keys won't be going out just yet. We'll be sending those a little bit later. And then after you have the key, things won't unlock until the server start time. So there'll be sort of multiple stages in the mix. We've sent out the emails to basically make sure that people can install and get everything downloaded. We know that there are all varying degrees of internet speed. How many heroes so far were added in the list overall? So what is the question here? What is the total number of guardians that we're looking for? I don't think there's like a specific number in that, a big part of Guild of Guardians plan is to have banner guardians, out into the future and continue adding guardians in the mix. So it's not like there will be 90 and that's all ever. And this is something that's going to be in a little bit of flux. Guardian production is one of the most intensive aspects of development for us. A lot of work goes into each and every Guardian to get all of their skills developed, all the art developed, all of the visual effects of it developed. Right now, we're targeting 92 at launch, but that could vary by some amount, just depending on how production as a whole goes. Don't necessarily think it'll go much higher than that, but we will see as things move ahead. Kyle, how will you start up founders and limited heroes? So again, founder heroes will essentially start at a higher star level than guardians that you would obtain just through playing the game itself, or like Web 2 systems. So they start at a higher star level. And some of what we're looking at here is where that breakpoint should be. And this is going to be an ongoing conversation with the community of, on one end, it would be that founder guardians just use this additional resource to start up the guardians, and you wouldn't necessarily need duplicates, to maybe some limited duplicate needed before you kick over to it. We'll see. Some of it's going to depend on how the friends and family test goes and how people feel interacting with the system. Then we should ideally be able to start locking this in. If you didn't get a confirmation for the playtest, does that mean you're not getting access even though I placed second in the previous? That's interesting. I need to talk to the marketing people. I did not make selections. So I don't know, Ryan, if you know exactly how that process went. Potentially, though. That or you become a friend for one of the people who have extra keys internally. Well, let me see on that front, Mr. Metaverse Tony. How is leveling heroes going to happen for founders, esports versus normal heroes? So everyone is going to level the same way. I think what this is actually asking is starring up, though. And again, that starring up system is a little bit in flux based off of how this test goes. But all Guardians will essentially be using the same system. There won't be variations depending. It's just like where in the process they are. And where we have those breakpoints between using duplicates into using sort of this general like sacrificed Guardian resource. All right. What are some of the possible outcomes to the items crafted in dungeon by a blacksmith? So a lot of this comes down to rarity of the item. So you have that sort of range from common items up through epic. I haven't seen any legendary in this build. It might be a very, very rare chance. I'm not sure if it made it in or not. But essentially, it's what is the rarity, and then there's a whole bunch of secondary stats. I do not have all of them logged into my brain, but those secondary stats are random, and again, it gives you a reason to craft the same piece of gear, which was not present in the beautiful corner, to sort of tune which of those secondary stats work for you best. Hold on one sec. So yeah, that equipment quality will be the primary thing that it influences. Bum, bum, bum. Let's see. Let's throw this one up. I agree, Sam. It's one of the reasons that we've been relooking at the system based off feedback over the initial pitch. I will say, from what I was able to do with the system, it felt right to me. I'm going to be really curious to see how players respond. Naughty Cookie, shouldn't owners of NFTs have a chance to try this? I had mine for more than a year. Some of this really just comes down to scale and where we're at. We were not in a place with friends and family to essentially have everyone who has a Guardian into the build. We all in total, the servers right now are set up to support about 1,000 players, and we're just not there yet between partners we had to invite, internal people that we needed to play test, and sort of where we're at. As we go out into the next stage, obviously more people will get to play. We'll continue to open that up. I really wish we could invite more people in. I'm just going to use this as an opportunity to talk more about MindLoader. Sorry, Justin, if you're watching. I know you don't like me waxing poetic here, but um, as somebody who's worked with outsourcers in multiple settings, MindLoader truly has been a partner on Guild of Guardians. They care a whole lot about the product. And uh, one of the things I've loved with working with them is they don't just do what we tell them to. It is an ongoing conversation. It is you taking that design ball and sort of passing it back and forth. A lot of the enhancements that you see in the Friends and Family build were pitched by MindLoader themselves. Their entire team is fantastic, and I think it shows through in what we've been able to do so far this year. Like, it's been a really intense project. They have put in a lot of hours, a lot of energy, creative and otherwise, to get us here. Really, they're just really good. Can you share anything about a core free-to-play set of Guardians similar to the free-to-play and free-to-earn GU cards? So there won't be like a welcome set of Guardians like there is in GU. Uh, you don't need like a minimum of 40 Guardians in order to play the game. So you will have, like, particularly in the Friends and Family, everyone starts with a few core Guardians that everyone shares. But pretty quickly from there, it goes into random. It's like whoever you summon in is part of your team. And that's largely where it's going to be at launch. What we'll be able to do is provide players with summoning scrolls to get people into their mix. And it should evolve really naturally. And it should be a little bit different for everybody. Pretty happy with how it's feeling. But yeah, we'll see from there. Feel like I missed a question somewhere. I don't know. Would love a clarification on that one. We want pets. How close are we to knowing what they do and how they work? So they're obviously not in this build. It was on the not included list. It is something that we've been talking back and forth with MindLoader on what makes the most sense. You don't hold me to it because we need to actually get it implemented and see how it feels. But it's quite likely that pets would, or a pet that you choose, would join you on dungeon runs as sort of a support style character. Sort of what we're looking at the moment, but we'll have to see once it actually fully gets in and we see how it feels. But I do believe by the roadmap, they will be in the next release. When white paper, very soon. The team is actively working on it. I expected it a lot sooner than this. There has been a fair bit of bouncing back just between all of the people that have a say in it. But getting the economy, which we had the article on not too long ago together, was a key part of it. And hopefully very soon, we are working very hard to get this out to all of you. Are you taking proper supplements, plenty of water, exercise, and rest? So on this front, I and most of the team take pretty good care of ourselves. I can say that I eat very well, exercise regularly. Some of it though, like, I don't know if I can properly convey the level of stress involved with pulling together projects. Like, there are so many different components, there are so many moving pieces, there are so many people that you're communicating with, coordinating with. it is unfortunately a pretty natural cycle in games. And like you ask anyone in games that you hit a major milestone and like just everyone gets sick. Like the body finally goes, relaxes, and it happens. But it also means that because I've got strong foundation, bounce back pretty quickly from it. Um, I'm trying to balance it all out because the other thing you don't want is burnt out people working on a project because that doesn't work either. So it's trying to find that balance of real high intensity, but also the time for recovery. Um, and I've got a pretty good system in place. I exercise with my family regularly. We lift weights together. We do all sorts of outdoor activities together. So in a pretty good place. When onboarding millions, will there be multiple servers to handle the player base? How will multiple servers affect the leaderboards? This is a really, really good question. And there are sort of minds of it of, on one hand, it's get everyone into a massive shared world. On the other hand, it's break players like into subregions. A final call here, I don't believe has been completely made. Some of it is still some tech looking at it. There are a lot of advantages to breaking people into servers in that you get just, it is an easier technical problem, and it gives players the opportunity to land rush, which a lot of people really like. We'll get back to you, as soon as we can with a final call on how that will be made. When USA meetup for GOG team possibly? That's an interesting question. Some of it is for all of us over here in like APAC, be it Sydney or Singapore, when we would be making it stateside. There may be some events, particularly as we go to launch, that take us to the US. And then it would be possible. We do have some people that work from the US. Again, plausible that they may make some, but nothing concrete plan just yet. It's more of a question for Ryan than for me. Just in terms of like the timing, this timing generally works well for me. I'm always happy to do them in the morning. Glad that it's working out. Are crafted loot items part of NFTs that we can sell in the marketplaces? So the plan at the moment is that the equipment itself is not, but that there may be components that are used to craft the gear that could be tradable on the marketplace. But that final step is something that players are crafting themselves. Oh gosh, on that front, with everything else, there was a rather last minute add into the mix when it comes to item crafting, partly to encourage people to uh, pop in throughout the day. We've added factory items into the mix as you get to the end of, I think, Dungeon 1, and maybe Dungeon 2. You'll get factory items, and essentially what those are, they're going to be items that live on your board that you can tap on that will kick out crafting components. So another new addition into the mix. Not a cookie. Will there be an open market where we can sell materials or weapons or even loan our NFTs to others? So the primary NFTs in the open marketplace will be the Guardians themselves. Most of it is focused on them. They are a really important resource in so many ways, from being able to play them as part of your Guardian crew to particularly with this new mechanic of harvesting resources to enhance, enlighten other Guardians in the mix. Weapons, no. Other than some very specific heirloom gear that we've got reserved for guilds to craft. but as individual players, you will not be crafting and selling them. The materials, however, are something that will also be on that open marketplace. Are GOG tokens used for gacha summons? So this is something that you can dive into the economy paper on, not directly. And some of this comes down to App Store compliance. So both the Google Play Store and like over on Apple, they're pretty reluctant for direct token integration into games themselves, which means if we were to go down that path, we wouldn't be able to have our game in the App Store, which would not be good. It's super important for hitting our player targets. So it's basically working around that system. We are looking at making sure that the GOG token is important. And as we've kind of refined here, we've got some plans to really make that happen. This is something that I think we're going to continue to iterate economy-wise, because the Web3 economies just aren't solved. I can't go into too much more detail at the moment, but yeah, I think what I would say at a high level, some of the goal that I'm looking at is having all players incentivized to have essentially a vault of GOG tokens, which influence the game in a number of different ways, and also in terms of being able to gacha summon. What are your expectations of the success of this game? That's a hard question. It's games, and the example that I like to point to is Among Us. Among Us launched, had a little bit of a peak, had some people playing it, and then essentially nearly shut down. It was literally days from shutting down when one big streamer got in and played and had fun, and it went from a game that was on the margins to basically a global phenomenon. A lot of it comes down to time, place, and hitting that right chord. I will say I play a lot of mobile games in my spare time just to make sure I have a good handle on the market overall. And right now, I think GOG is really well placed to do well. It's a good-looking game. It's a very accessible game. It has depth, but it's not obtusely difficult. It's something that you can sort of partially succeed at and still make progress. It's not like an all or nothing binary that so many games can be. I've been through the gambit. Even MTG Arena was a bit of a surprise. We were pretty sure as we went out to launch that we're going to do well, but it exceeded our expectations by a bit of a margin, a lot of a margin. And some of it, yeah, it's unknowable. I have high hopes though. All of the pieces have been coming together really well across the game itself and how it feels. So I'm very bullish at the moment on that Guild of Guardians can bridge the gap between Web 2 gamers and get them into that Web3 side of things. If Guild of Guardians was just a Web 2 game, I also think it would do really well. And I do think Web3 adds a lot of complexity into the mix. And if there's any one major gate, it's that. The Immutable platform team is working really hard on passports and other things to bring that gap down. But there's a lot of potential here. And I think that's starting to come through too, just behind the scenes in who's reaching out to us to potentially work with us on getting some other IPs into the mix. So yeah, we'll see. Really quick, when do you expect to be selling more Guild tokens? I'm not expecting any sales imminently. If we were going to open that up, we'll do that communication clearly. I do think that we need more guild tokens in the mix. I also want to get guilds solidified and implemented before we go making additional sales on that front. When summoning heroes with a chance to go through cosmetic metamorphosis, will mythics still be one of one? This is an internal debate that's going on. I think they should be. There are cases for why they shouldn't. If you've got opinions on this front, happy to hear them. Active and ongoing debate on that one. With direct stat boost being ruled out, was it decided how warrior and elite chromas might be in game utility? Can't wait for the friends and family demo. Not yet. Still open to debate on that one. On this, though, I will say when it comes to this, yeah, I did watch Discord in the subsequent time after. This is an area where, as a game director, I kind of feel like sometimes you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. It was a pitch. This was an area where I was somewhat hesitant on having direct power in the mix, but there were reasons that we had, as a team, gotten there, and I was willing to send it out there and float the idea. So when there was pushback on it, we started conversations internally and led us to walking that back. And it's like, okay, we don't walk it back, and and we're people who don't listen. We do walk it back, and we're people who fluctuate and change. If I have any leg to stand on that front, there are plenty of areas where I've stood my ground with Guild of Guardians because I believe strongly it's the right thing to do. And like on this reboot, there was a lot of pushback that we shouldn't be doing it. I think it's bearing out that was absolutely the right call. I will stand my ground when I believe it's something that's going to be in the game's best interest. But if I got feedback from players that really makes sense, it's part of my job to listen and make changes on that front. So yeah. Oh man, I could go on, and I'm a little bit over, but I'm having fun answering questions, and I don't have anything immediately after, so I'm going to keep going for a bit. Ryan, if you need me to stop, you can ping me on Slack. Will the game use any anti-cheating system so that bots and other players don't abuse it? Wow. Yes. I'm not going to tell you what they are because any information that we send out there is something that gives the people who are trying to circumvent additional knowledge. But there are multiple tiers of this. This is one of the areas where there's a lot of potential around AI in terms of pattern recognition. In some of the past bot preventions, it's been human sorting of data to try and identify patterns. It's one of the things that AI is good at. I guess I did give a little bit away there. That was, but yes, this is something that's a real concern on any Web3 game, because when you can take effort and translate that into basically real world value, people are going to be incentivized to push against it. But yes, the other side of this too that is complicated when we talk about where Web3 brings complexity into the mix, it comes with that onboarding, and like fiat to the Web3 space is a really, really challenging problem. And unfortunately, with credit cards on the dark web, with abuse, with chargebacks, there is a lot of danger in those systems as well. And it's something we're putting a lot of energy and effort into trying to solve. We're definitely watching the wider market to see if anyone else has come up with a perfect plan, and nobody has yet. But anti-cheating, anti-abuse, absolutely. We want to be rewarding players themselves who put in time to play. We don't want to be rewarding bots. To my knowledge, all emails have been sent at this point. Yes. Will we ever reach 1 billion GOG tokens? I'd imagine if we do our jobs, no. Yeah. I'll get back to you when we do. Um, a lot of it, like to do that, like yeah, Immutable would need to put all of its faults into circulation too. I don't see that happening anytime soon. Maybe in years, if everything goes absolutely fantastically. But that's a lot. That's a problem for future Clay. So this is a really good question from Naughty Cookie on like, will we have incentives for content creators? We have a system that we're working on internally with the tokens team to essentially incentivize content creators, to reward content creators who participate in the greater Guild of Guardians ecosystem for bringing players into the mix. It's something that we've done with GU to varying degrees of success. Enough success, though, that it's something that we absolutely want to continue. This is stuff that's still, it's past sort of the drawing board stage and kind of into like the validation stage. So any system like this is incredibly complex, particularly with the previous question of like, how do you deal with bots and people who are trying to abuse the system? So a lot of what we're doing right now when it comes to the content creation, like reward schema is validation. It's looking at all the ways that it could potentially be abused, looking at all of the ways that it incentivizes and making sure that it incentivizes good behaviors. But yes, short answer to that is yes. Will there be a Steam release of the game? Absolutely not. And that is not our call. That is Steam. Steam does not allow any game with any Web3 component integration in it. Same time, this is a mobile-only release too. Steam is PC-based, and there are no plans for a PC client at this time. My last cheeky question before ending the stream: how about giving free access to the Friends and Family demo to 3 viewers? Take care. This will be logged so we can see who interacted in the chat. I'll talk to the marketing team about that. It's a good suggestion. Who is cooler to hang with, Robbie or Alex Conley? You're really going to make me answer that question. I suppose I don't have to answer that. Like, I was the one that clicked on it. Depends on the context. I've spent quite a lot of time at many an executive offsite with both. If I'm in my very techie brain, Alex, in terms of just like narrative storytelling, I think Robbie may have an upper hand there. Both amazing human beings that I'm so happy to have had a chance to work with. All right. Maybe one more. All right. I think that's all the questions that I haven't answered. Cool. Well, thank you all for taking your morning, afternoon, evening, or night to come hang out with me and walk through Guild of Guardians. Thank you so much for all your time, effort, and energy into the project and community. It's super appreciated. I know I can get very hyper-focused on development and not always bounce in to the socials, but it is because I'm very hyper-focused on development and making sure everything moves ahead of pace. There are a lot of moving parts in this mix, but that lets us bring a really high-quality game to all of you. So again, thank you so much, and I will catch you guys soon. And for everyone in Friends and Family, I will catch you there. I'm going to be in the Endless. I'm not quite sure I'll be able to make it through each of the blocks, so I'm going to do my best to try. I can't win the rewards, but I wouldn't mind my name in lights a little bit. All right, take care.